Hey everyone! It's the start of the spring tour, but first, news around Dota. All good things must come to an end. joinDOTA has announced that they will be closing its door on March 31st, 2022. In their statement, they said, "This might not come as a surprise to the die-hard fans who have been following us closely. The decision was made after much mulling over about the Dota 2 ecosystem and where we want to fit within and continue grow with the community. All in all, joinDOTA has been an important community not just for Dota 2 scene, but the esport and the gaming ecosystem overall. It has also provided a gateway for enthusiasts and volunteers into esports. joinDOTA ended their statement with a bunch of their accomplishments, and they had well over 1.5 billion page views, over 9,000 news stories, and well over 80 million YouTube views. PGL has announced a new major tournament for Dota 2, and it's going to be in North America. PGL Dota 2 Major Arlington 2022 will take place in August 4th to the 14th. It will be in Arlington, Texas, and the major will be the final chance for teams to secure a top 12 spot for the international. This week, tall fly Aizik went on to the We Say Things podcast to talk about his career, his teams, and everything Dota. We finally got some answers to his tenure in OG and EG. He didn't go much into his exit from EG, but he did say even after 4 years, everything that fans say about his departure from OG still chips away at him. Here's what he had to say.
The way I left the team, I handled the situation poorly, and I definitely regret how I handled it. But I did learn from it and grew a lot as a person. I am fortunate to have this platform. I want to address that, and that's that there's a line between criticism of a player's actions at the time and dragging it out years later, kind of for fun, quote unquote. I get the heat of what happened, and I understand that when you compete at the highest level, whether it's sports or esport or whatever it is, players are going to get criticism. And every time we compete, we're opening ourselves up to the public. And some people might look at this and say, like, if you can't take the heat, don't play. And I've heard it before. And I do have thick skin, and you need it at this level of competition, right? People criticize when they care, so I'd rather they care than they don't. And that's addressing the Dota community in general. Like, obviously, we care a lot about our game. It's been about 4 years, I think, since this happened, and I've tried to move on, but these sort of things the community just won't move on from. I compete in this game because I love it. I do interviews because I still want to engage with this community. But repeatedly being labeled as a traitor for every match or interview over 4 years kind of chips away at you. So I think we need to set the bar higher for ourselves and our community. This isn't about which team you're cheering for or what players you're a fan of. We can be passionate without being harmful. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about this.
Fly also spoke about his exit from Evil Geniuses. He recalls being told that he was off the roster after communicating back and forth with the team when he was on vacation. Here's what he had to say.
I had that conversation with the guys, and then I think Daryl, Ice, and Crit, they flew home right away. Abed was unfortunately stuck for a while. I think he couldn't go back because of COVID restrictions. So it was basically myself, Bulba, and Artor. We stayed a bit longer, and we talked amongst ourselves, like how are we thinking after a bit more time has passed. It was pretty clear that Artor didn't want to play with Ice anymore, and initially, actually, both Bulba and myself, we both stated that we actually want to play with the exact same roster. That was the initial feeling I had. I felt like we didn't really get to show our best, and I really did like this roster. Like, I love Daryl. He's an awesome guy. He's really good. And I think we just had to do some structural changes within the team and like how we operate, how we who exactly has like the reins on the team, because it was a bit of a shared power. So yeah, that was what we were initially thinking, both of us, both Bobo and I. And then Artur said he didn't want to play with Ice. And then basically it was decided right away. That was the only thing that was set in stone, is that Daryl is out of the team. So he got told, I think right after TI ended, that he's no longer part of the team, and then everything else was a bit up in the air. We did talk amongst ourselves about how it would look moving forward, and the one concern we had is that we've had this roster for a while now. Specifically, Crit, Artur, and myself. We've been playing for a long time together, and this goes back a bit to the point of: do you want to continue trying to work on this roster that hasn't won, even though we have been consistently very successful, or do we want to try something else? And Bulba and I initially felt like we can work on this and make it work, because we've been very close, and I felt like we were very strong that year. So that was a bit of a question mark. And then TI ends, people fly home. I fly on to Italy for a vacation with Evany. And during my time in Italy, between eating all the delicious pizza and ice cream and all that, sorry, gelato, don't kill me, please. Delicious. I was still talking to all of the guys. I tried to talk to Bulba about like what we're doing moving forward, and it all seemed to point towards us continuing with the same roster, just bringing in a new offlaner. And back then, I think we mentioned Nightfall, mentioned Gabby. I think JT was in talks as well at the time. But yeah, during those discussions, it seemed like we were just going to do some structural changes and then continue with the same roster plus a new offlaner. But what I did notice was that when I was writing to Artur specifically, that something was a bit off in how he responded. Because, you know, when you text somebody, usually there's a certain way that they respond. And if they change their pattern, that means something is off. I don't know, maybe you guys have that experience with like a significant other or not. That's probably the easiest example when you notice this. But yeah, I noticed something was off, and I was kind of getting stressed about it. And that's Evany helped me out. She was like, "Why don't you just ask him? You know, like sometimes we just have the problem of not asking a question, which is very simple." So I asked him like, "Hey, is everything okay? The way you've been writing is very cold." I think I asked him kind of straight up, like, "What's going on?" And I was reassured that everything's okay. No, I'm tired from these conversations about different offlaners. So I'm like, okay. Instinctually, you know, like the gut feeling, I still felt like something was off, but I'm not gonna push on someone when he's saying he's tired and he just said everything's okay. So all right. Fast forward a bit, I fly to Israel to see my family. I think I haven't seen them since COVID, so it's been like 2 years. And this is roughly 2 weeks after TI, so this was end of October. Yeah, this was end of October / beginning of November. I get this call from Bulba, and he basically just says that I'm no longer part of the team, and we're bringing in Jerax and Nightfall. So that was a bit of a shocker for me, for sure. And the unfortunate part is that the timeline was really bad, because I kind of reached out after that happened. I reached out to different players and teams and be like, "Hey, what's going on with you guys?" And almost everyone has already soft committed or basically signed a contract.
Right.
Because TI shuffles happen very fast. As soon as a team is out of the tournament, if they're not playing on the final day, they're already thinking about the shuffles. They're already contacting players, contacting organizations. Like these things happen really fast. So there were very limited options for me after that happened. So, you know, yeah. That was kind of the situation where I was at.
Let's head over to the Spring Tour for Week 1. Let's begin in China. It's only Week 1, but LBZS is falling into a deep hole, going 0-3. And in Division 2, it's not a surprise that Invictus Gaming has won their first 2 series. Our highlight comes between Yihom against Team Magma.
By the way, Jesus.
Oh, Infernal Blade, no mana left here on the Medusa, getting low! And the damage is there to get the Aegis. Oh, they got the damage to get the kill on Echo! They took out the Queen of Pain, buys back. And that could be a problem, but Kaz dying might even be a bigger problem, as he's got no buyback.
I don't agree with you guys.
Like Mercy, and now they're gonna go to the right clicks. They'll get the kill on Azeel. Here comes Shiro. Shiro trying to get the kill here on a something. Looks over at Dust, takes out the Viper. He's gone for 100. Yeah, no Queen of Pain, no problem.
Yeah. Buyback anyway. Now he's back in the fight. They're probably just gonna go for the Tip Force. Oh, okay, you can blink.
It's over. Oh.
Can't blink anymore though.
For those 2 golden letters in between F and H on the keyboard there.
And it's not over until the Ancient and the Throne.
In Southeast Asia, we may have seen our first upset of the Spring Tour. Polaris took out T1 2-0 in their series, and they stay undefeated as they are 2-0 in this season. In Division 2, Open Qualifier team RSG has gone off to a strong start with 2 series wins. Our highlight comes between T1 against Polaris.
Lincoln's number 1. Can they get any more afterwards? Jumps forward. Lincoln's broken number 2. And they got him for the moment, but it's not going to be enough. They still have the Doom available. Lotus, Force Staff, pushing him forward. They throw out the Doom, and it's eventually going to be there. But that's just life number 1. Can they do it? But the buybacks come out now, trying to bring him down, but they bring him back again with the Aghanim Scepter, hoping to kill off Natsumi. And they will burn through it, so no meta for round 2.
Yeah.
What
That's how
can
you
they
approach
do?
it.
Death Prophet dead and stunned, but the Force Staff keeps them fine and dandy, and they don't have another round of the Ags time lapse, but the jump forward, Cuckoo trying to bring down Natsumi, they get it off. The Sunder, now the walk forward, Force Staff in, trying to take him down. Carl is dead, 100 seconds. The duel afterwards on a Cuckoo, and Natsumi, he's just gonna be able to run in and clean up without the Metamorphosis. They find Gabby as well. GG is called. What an unbelievably crisp series from Polaris.
Yeah.
In Western Europe, Team Secret finally got off to a good start by defeating Team Liquid. Enigma Galaxy on the other hand are struggling out the gate once again, dropping their first series to OG. In Division 2, Chicken Fighters missed out on getting promoted last season, but this season they are off to a 2-0 start. Our highlight comes from Team Secret against Team Liquid.
PSA Owen.
No, don't worry, there's not much happening here now from Liquid, I don't think. They've got a buyback available on Boxy. Matu, he's going to need help. Tornado will keep him covered quite nicely. They buff him up. He's trying to get back, but Samel just stays in on top of him, commits him with a BKB. Another defensive destruction from Boxy buys a bit more time from Matu. They will get him back to the fountain. He'll live to see another day. 10 seconds, they'll have Zai back up. Liquid, can they do some sort of miraculous defense here? They're up against Megas. Matu jumped upon by the Rolling Thunder. He's out, no buyback on him. GG, it's called. As Secret, well, they'll close up this game too very, very confidently. 31 minutes.
In North America, Evil Geniuses get a strong start to the season with 2 wins. Following behind them is Quincy Crew, 4 Zoomers, and TSM. Our highlight comes between Evil Geniuses against Wildcard Gaming.
You can see Abed joining into the fight. There's quite a few heroes here. Abed does not care.
He's gonna kill him. Did
Look
they
at
realize?
him. He's just hunting over here at Esk, and they find themselves Alex very quickly. Crit's cleaning up. Lama, again, you have that Pit of Malice. They'll end up losing Esk, and eventually they do manage to take down Crit, but Abed just moving around, followed up here with Nightfall. They've got the damage, they've got the aggression. They're gonna chase after Lama now, and the buyback coming out from Viper. Another Pit of Malice getting used. Viper making his way forward here. Can they do enough? It just feels like they're gonna end up losing. Yeah, they'll end up losing to Lama. They're gonna end up losing even more. Esk just gets obliterated, Sam, and they call the GG. They have just had...
In South America, it's going to be a battle for Beast Coast, Infamous, Thunder Awakening, and hopefully Lava. Lava showed a lot of promise early in the season last tour. In Division 2, No Ping Esports is seeking for redemption and their way back into Division 1 with a 2-0 start. Our highlight comes between Beast Coast against Infinity.
Do they have the disables it takes to kill off PP? Is this BKB down? It looks like it might just be. See Smile and Whisper with the Omni Slash now arriving in from K1. Oh, it's a swift slash. It wasn't the Omni, just a small one onto Rises, so tiny. Wobbling back. Thanks to that Lotus Orb. But you've lost your Ember Spirit with no buyback. 74 seconds, and with 2 supports respawning on the Radiant, it's going to be a 5 versus 3. And they are in on these tier 4s. Mariano gives it a try. Loses half of his HP in a matter of seconds. Dead without buyback on the Sand King now. Rises disarmed, so he can't even hit anyone. Another swift slash from the Juggernaut. Gives C-Smile a double kill, and GG is called. It's 2-0 to Beast Coast.
Yeah, they looked much better in the second game, I would say, compared to the first one, but only slight improvement.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And set your fantasy.